Welcome back to the channel, guys. We have got the Austrian Grand Prix today, and I'm very much looking forward to this race because, well, if you guys remember back to Silverstone, we had absolutely amazing racing, and we already know that Silverstone isn't the best circuit, isn't the best circuit for racing, in terms of overtaking opportunities and hairpins when we do want to make an overtake. And here in Austria, we've got quite possibly the best track for overtaking, maybe other than Monza and Spa. And we've got a sprint race as well. So I suspect this race might be one of the best races of 2022. That's what I'm predicting, at least. We will have to wait and see what happens. We've got qualifying starting in 15 minutes time. I will just load up the I'll load up the map and then we will get going for some racing. All right. So let me just adjust that, and then I'll run you through what happened in FP1, because it was quite an eventful session, to be honest. So what happened was that Lando Norris's McLaren had an overheating issue. It was one of the electrical boxes inside of the cockpit, very close to his seat, started to overheat. So his seat got really, really hot. So he had to get out the car, completely stop the car, and that's why he's down in 20th position. And yeah, so McLaren really haven't had the best of. Oh, and then Daniel Ricciardo, his DRS flap was flapping around. If you guys remember back, I think it was towards the start of the season, we had Max Verstappen's DRS flap flapping around, or was it the end of last year? Either way, Max Verstappen had a similar issue a couple of races ago, where his DRS flap just wouldn't stay completely open or completely shut. It'd keep flapping around. Same thing happened to Daniel Ricciardo, so McLaren had to fix that as well. So both McLaren drivers not having ideal FP1 sessions, but they will be ready to go for qualifying today. They fixed Daniel Ricciardo's DRS flap, and then I suspect they fixed Lando Norris's car. They just haven't took it out for an installation lap yet. We have also got, well, if you look up at the top, we've got Verstappen, then Leclerc, then Russell, then Perez, and then Hamilton, all in the top five. So Mercedes definitely back. They are definitely going to be third fastest team at least. And then we could possibly see them challenging the Ferraris or the Red Bulls, depending on what the pace is like, how well their qualifying sessions actually go, and what their true pace is once they've reduced all the fuel loads and set the engine modes up into a higher performance option. Hello everyone, thank you everyone for tuning in. Do appreciate all your support as always, guys. We've got 200 people watching. If you could smash the like button, it would really boost the live stream in the YouTube algorithm. And we have qualifying in 11 minutes time. We've also got the Alpines. They're in 8th position and 12th position. But the thing is, these Alpines, those 2 laps that they've set to get into 8th and 12th position, they're on medium tires, whereas every other lap in the top 10 has been set on soft tires. So if we've got soft tires, if we've got Fernando Alonso on medium tires and the soft tires are probably around 4 or 5 tenths faster, we could definitely see the Alpines also getting up there and challenging the Mercedes, maybe nipping at the heels of the Mercedes, and that would be great to see. All right, let me know what your predictions are in the chat, and I will be reading them as we go along. And we've also got things to watch out for. Track limits in F2. They just had their qualifying probably, I think it was half an hour ago or so, but their qualifying session in F2, loads of people were getting their lap time deleted because they were exceeding track limits. So they got track limits at turn number 1, where you can't go past the white line, and the same thing for turn number 9 and turn number 10. So I might just give you guys a quick, so turn number 9 here, turn number 10 here, you've got track limits there and track limits here as well. And you cannot go past the white line, and if you do, your lap time will be immediately deleted. So yeah, you got to watch out really to make sure that you do not exceed the white line. Otherwise, your qualifying session could really be screwed over, because if you do delete your lap time on the lap that you were going to get through into Q3, there you go, you're stuck in Q2 and you will be eliminated. So track limits are very, very important. And the other thing is, because this circuit is so short, it's only 2.6 miles. I think we'll be doing around 70 laps of it for the race this weekend. Because it's so short, traffic becomes a very, very big issue. Max Verstappen ran into traffic probably 3 times in practice sessions, in just this one practice session alone. So once all 20 cars are out there, finding a space for yourself is going to be rather tough, and making sure there's no traffic ahead of you as well is going to be a tough task to ask those race engineers to find a suitable space. And the other thing is, because there's so many straights here, slipstream is also going to be kind of important, because, well, to be honest, you need some sort of slipstream if you're going to want to go fast down the straights. We can have a look at the top speed data, but okay, well, we've lost the top speed data because we've got into the quali session rather than in the FP3. But point being that the Red Bulls are slightly faster in the top speeds than the Ferraris, and Ferrari may need to get a tow. They may go Leclerc, you give Sainz a tow for one lap, and then Sainz, you give Leclerc a tow the next lap, to make sure that it's all fair and balanced, because a slipstream is going to be very important around this circuit. You could probably gain 2 or 3 tenths, but the thing is, because this lap is so short, and it is going to be Heike's, no, the stream has not been on for long. I've only started what, 5 minutes ago, because yeah, I just started the stream 15 minutes later than usual, really. Yeah, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so because the lap is so short, it's around about a 1:05, 1:06 lap time. A 2/10 gap is a much bigger percentage difference in your lap time than if you were going around Spa, say. So every single corner and every single tenth that you can get is going to have a very significant difference, and all of the lap times, they're going to be the gap between the lap times between all of the teams is going to be extremely small because of the fact the circuit is so small. And yeah, that was definitely going to make it very, very interesting. We've got 10 actual corners, but in reality there are only sort of 6 corners that you actually have to brake for. We got turn number 1. Of course, going up the hill, you're going to be braking on the left-hand side of the track, turning in, hitting that apex, and not going outside track limits on the white line. Then going down the straight, you'll be flat through turn number 2. Turn number 3, it'll be uphill once again. You just hit that braking zone at the 100-meter mark and hit that apex for the hairpin. Make sure you get a very nice exit onto the next DRS zone of the circuit, the 3rd DRS zone, into turn 4, which is the downhill braking zone. We had Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez getting caught out going through into turn number 4 in the practice sessions. And you got to be very careful because there was also a tailwind there. The wind was very much changing directions, so the wind will be catching loads of people out. But there was especially a tailwind going into turn number 4 quite often. And Perez and Bottas, both of them got caught out by it. So 2 very experienced drivers getting caught out. So I'll have to see how the rest of the other drivers fare. Then turn number 5 is flat out. Turn number 6 is, well, you gotta brake a tiny little bit before you go into turn number 6, and then through into turn number 7, another dab of the brakes and flick the car in. Turn number 8 is just flat. You want to just minimize the distance, and then up into turn number 9 and 10. This is once again, you got the track limits on the edge of the track, and you've really got to just trust the car in turn number 9. You just turn the car in and hope it sticks. Otherwise, it's going to be a very nasty crash going into that tyre wall on the other side of the track. And then the same for turn number 10. You got a little bit of a break, and you need to get a very nice exit going down to the start-finish line. So that is a lap of Austria. We are 5 minutes away from the start of the qualifying session, and I look forward to, well, I very much look forward to this starting, because traffic, slipstream, and only a couple of corners means that there's going to be quite a few surprises and a lot of excitement going around for this qualifying session. Let's see what your predictions are in the chat. So most of you guys thinking Max Verstappen is going to get pole position, and to be fair, that is expected. Max Verstappen has won, I think, 4 of the last 6 races around here at the Red Bull Ring. So yeah, he really is very dominant around this circuit, and we're expecting him to get out ahead of the Ferraris, but you'll never know because Leclerc is a very, very fast driver, and you really can't get screwed over much by strategy in qualifying sessions because we know Ferrari like to mess with strategy and they're not the best at it, but you really can't mess up qualifying strategy that much. So hopefully Leclerc can go on challenge Max Verstappen. Yes, Bottas is going to have a grid penalty with the new power unit. I'll just add that in. So I think the grid penalty applies for the race on Sunday. It doesn't actually apply for the sprint race. So wherever he qualifies today, that's where he'll start the race tomorrow, and then wherever he finishes the race tomorrow, he'll get a grid penalty from there. So nothing too important there for Valtteri Bottas. Also this year, the sprint races, they're going to have 8 points awarded for the driver in first position, 7 points for the driver in second position, 6 points for the driver in third, going all the way down to the 8th place position with 1 point. So more points at stake for the sprint race this year compared to the 3 points that were available for winning last year. Hopefully increase the stakes a little bit. Maybe we'll get a little bit more overtaking between the drivers on the sprint race. And I especially think, if you guys remember back to Silverstone, we had such sensational racing in the last 12 laps. I think that when we get 20 laps of racing here around Austria, it is going to be very much the same. It'll be 1/3 race distance. So if we're doing 70 laps, that's going to be around about 33, 34 laps. It'll be around about 22 laps or so. 22 laps, 23 laps of racing. And it's going to be absolutely epic because we know the cars this year can overtake. When there's 3 DRS zones, there'll be no shortage of action. But to obviously decide the grid for the sprint race, we will have qualifying today starting in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Very much looking forward to this. We've got 400 people watching. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please be sure to do so. And if you have not hit the like button either, that would be very much appreciated, as it's just going to tell YouTube that you're loving the live stream, and then it'll recommend it to more people, which is absolutely wonderful. Why is QUALI so early? I'm not particularly sure. Well, it's on a Friday, isn't it? So it's a lot earlier than usual. And I think the race is actually earlier than this, in fact. So there we go. Yeah, McLaren is struggling. McLaren is struggling is quite a consistent theme throughout the year, really. They have a very fast car. They can definitely compete against Mercedes on certain occasions, but then on certain occasions their setup might be completely wrong, or the driver's having bad luck, or something comes up. There's always something from McLaren that's coming up and holding them back. So hopefully all of these issues get ironed out over the summer break, and then for the second half of the season we'll get McLaren, Alpine battling out behind Mercedes, and maybe even battling Mercedes. That would be great to see. Also, just another quick thing to mention before qualifying begins, we've had 10 races of F1 this year. F1 this year so far, and this is the 11th race. But of the 10 races, there have been 7 races where Ferrari have got pole position, and 3 races where Red Bull have got pole position. But there have been 7 races which Red Bull have won, and only 3 races that Ferrari have won. So the pole to victory conversion for Ferrari is absolutely horrific. So hopefully, even if Ferrari does get pole, that does not mean they're going to win. And that same thing can be said for Red Bull, because it wasn't the races where Red Bull got pole they went on to win. So whoever gets pole position this weekend definitely does not have like a 100% chance of winning or anything significant, really, mainly because of the fact that the sprint race is going to mix everything up, and so is the race on Sunday, because 3 DRS zones means a whole bunch of overtaking, and then these new cars as well just adds to all of that action. So Q1 is now underway. The green flag is out, and the drivers will be coming out of the pit lane as we speak. Yep, there we go. Oh, actually, no drivers coming out the pit lane yet. All of them are queued up. All of them are sat in their garage, but none of them are coming out. Very, very strange. To be honest, I think what they're doing is just waiting. Oh, there we go. Yuki Tsunoda is out of his garage and going onto the track. Another thing to point out is that the tire wear that will, not the tire wear, sorry, the track evolution that occurs on this weekend is going to be a lot higher than usual, mainly because of the fact that when we normally have qualifying sessions, we normally have 3 practice sessions before it, so the track gets completely and properly rubbered in. So the performance is very consistent throughout Q1, Q2, and Q3. And between the start and end of sessions as well. But because we've only had 1 practice session, this circuit is definitely not rubbered in properly whatsoever. So yeah, you can definitely expect some track evolution. The drivers that do go start their qualifying laps at the end of the session will have a pretty significant advantage over everyone else. And we'll see how that plays out for them and which teams decide to go late. Because the thing is, if you go late and a driver ahead of you has an incident or a yellow flag or something comes up, that's you out of qualifying. So it's really risk versus reward. Do you start a lap late behind everyone else and potentially get held up by a yellow flag, or do you go out at the front, don't get a slipstream, but make sure that you actually get your lap in time? So we'll wait and see what the teams decide to do. But here we go. Yuki Tsunoda now starting a lap, going down the start-finish straight. Shifting up into 8th gear, reaching approximately 300 kilometers an hour, braking to turn number 1, now hits that apex very nicely, and then does not exceed track limits down into turn 2. DRS is fully wide open, and up into turn 3, goes up the hill now into the braking zone. Very nicely done, and hits that apex as well. Nice exit there from Yuki Tsunoda, and let's look at his sector time. It's a 16.9, slightly quicker than his teammate, and pretty much on par with Charles Leclerc's sector 1 lap time. So Yuki Tsunoda is very much flying, goes through turn number 4, no issues there, and gets that downhill braking zone perfectly judged as well. Through turn 5, there's gravel traps all around this part of the circuit. Turn number 1, 2, and turn number 1 and 3 have tarmac runoffs and asphalt runoffs. But once you get to turn number 4, 5, and 6, 4, 5, 6, and 7. There is gravel everywhere, so you got to be very, very careful indeed. Here we go now. Yuki Tsunoda crosses the line at 1 minute 7.5. Nice benchmark time there. Pierre Gasly crosses the line, goes 2.5 tenths behind his teammate there. And Charles Leclerc crosses the line. He goes 8 tenths ahead of the AlphaTauris, and he is currently in first position. Lando Norris crosses the line. He goes half a second behind Charles Leclerc. We have now got Lance Stroll crosses the line in 4th position, splits the AlphaTauris. Carlos Sainz, what a lap, goes ahead of Charles Leclerc. I mean, look at this. So this is another thing that we need to talk about. Carlos Sainz had a great weekend out in Silverstone, and all of that confidence that he's got from getting pole position, getting the race win, is that going to transform Carlos Sainz into someone that can actually battle Charles Leclerc every single week? Well, by the looks of it, in this first qualifying session, it looks to be Carlos Sainz is very much on par with Charles Leclerc, if not even faster than him. So we'll look to see. Oh, there we go. First lap time deletion of the session. We've got Carlos Sainz, who's got a deleted lap time. Just as I was saying, he's bounced back and he can challenge Charles Leclerc. He's got his lap time deleted. So I will keep you updated on who gets a lap time deleted and who does not. But it will be rather tricky. So I apologize if I can't keep up with every single lap time deletion. Sergio Perez crosses the line 44 milliseconds behind Charles Leclerc. So we will wait and see what Verstappen can do. Will he go ahead of Leclerc or will he match Sergio Perez? In the practice sessions, there was a half a second gap between the two drivers, but this is qualifying and it is totally different. We've now got Most of the drivers now out on track. We've only got Verstappen, Hamilton, Russell, and Bottas all in the garage. I don't think Bottas will be going out since the fact that he's got his new power unit and a grid penalty. There's no point him putting it into the quality engine mode and then going out and wasting reliability and like kilometers that he can do in that car and in that power unit. So he might as well just sit in the garage and wait this one out. So Valtteri Bottas in 20th position, and he looks like won't be coming out for the rest of the session. All right. Let's look at Carlos Sainz. Yep, Carlos Sainz exceeded track limits barely. I mean, his front white reel was like pretty much touching the white line, but if you look at it from a slightly different angle, it's just off. So track limits very, very harsh here. They've got their sensors dialed in from the practice sessions of F2 and the wow, look at this, Fernando Alonso, what a lap. I mean, I was telling you guys the Alpines have hidden pace, but look at this, Fernando Alonso half a tenth ahead of Leclerc. Kevin Magnussen, wow, and Mick Schumacher as well. Where has all of this pace come from? I do not know. I suspect some of the drivers at the top teams must be backing off slightly, or track evolution is really prominent and really kicking in, because the Hasses in second and third position, very, very odd to see. Here we go. Charles Leclerc crosses the line and he is in first position now. Once again, he's 0.3 ahead of the Hasses. I don't know how the Hasses have closed the gap up to the front so much, but I suspect that the Ferraris will not be pushing to the absolute limit, because there's no point trying to push too hard and then going on to exceed track limits. And once you've exceeded track limits, you got to do an extra 5-6 laps on those tires, and that just wears them out even more, which is not ideal. So Ferrari may be playing it slightly safe here, because very strange to see the Hasses and the Ferraris that close to each other. But Kevin Magnussen being an absolute legend, and the same said for Mick Schumacher in third and fourth position. We've got Fernando Alonso in fifth as well. Hello, Game of Fabtion King. Nice to see that you're back. The weather it's completely sunny there in Austria, in Spielberg. And here we go. Carlos Sainz, he's crossed the line yet. He is still 0.2 behind his teammate. Right, let's see who else is on a flyer. Hamilton and Russell have come out on the track now. Both drivers setting very nice first sectors, pretty much on par with Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. And let's see what they can do. Their middle sectors as well, slightly slower than the Ferrari duo, but we will wait and see where they come out when they cross the line. We've got Max Verstappen as well on a flying lap alongside. Valtteri Bottas has also come out on track as well. George Russell crosses line up into fourth position. Next we have got Lewis Hamilton, he's into ninth, and Sebastian Vettel, he crosses the line, he is in 16th. Not great there for the Aston Martin. And especially for Vettel, considering Stroll is up in 10th position. Look at this, Sergio Perez, 2 purple sectors. This man is absolutely flying. Let's see now, he does not get held up by Guan Yu Zhou. Zhou's out of the way very nicely. Fernando Alonso, once again, fastest lap. And then Sergio Perez crosses the line to take that away from him. And he goes 0.5 faster. And then Verstappen crosses the line. He goes 0.5 faster than his teammate. Where has all of this pace come from, Fernando Alonso? I have to ask you, because he is a 10th behind Max Verstappen and 1 millisecond ahead of Charles Leclerc. Absolutely crazy. I mean, what has happened here? The Alpines have got some crazy upgrade or something. Also, I'd just like to point out, all of you Orange Army fans, the Orange Army has literally released all of the smoke everywhere on the circuit, and going through the middle sector, all you can see is the cars on the bottom of the shot, and then you've got just tons of orange smoke all in the air from the Dutch crowd, and all of those fans now will be extremely disappointed, because Max Verstappen's lap time has been deleted. He's back down into 19th position after a deleted lap time, and he'll have to set another lap if he wants to get through into Q2. He was going through the final corner, in fact, and once again just exceeded track limits. Very, very marginal, very similar to Carlos Sainz's case. but he got a little bit of a slide coming out the final corner. And that pushed him wide of the white line. Lewis Hamilton has got a purple first sector. Let's go through his lap with him. He's got Nicholas Latifi ahead of him, the absolute GOAT, as we all know. He gives him a bit of a tow and then gets out the way through turn number 4. Hamilton very nice, takes that braking zone very, very nicely indeed into the second sector now. Covered in orange army smoke. We've got Hamilton going through turn number 6 and 7 very smoothly indeed. Up into 8 goes all over the curb. There's no vibrating curb this weekend. Well, the curb was never vibrating, but there's no curb that causes the cars to vibrate this weekend round, so you can very much drive over the curbs of that part of the track. Hamilton now crosses the line. He goes up into first position. Track evolution is playing a massive part here, because all of these lap times, I mean, Fernando Alonso up in 3rd position, Lewis Hamilton up in 1st position. I don't think they're exactly representative. I think the track evolution is playing a rather big role here. So the drivers who do go out at the end of the session, they will be having a very, very big advantage indeed compared to everyone else. And we will have to wait and see how that plays out for them, and what the teams decide to do. Do they decide to go out right at the end of the session, or do they decide to go at the start and potentially not get held up by a yellow flag? Alrighty. Also, guys, we got 1,400 people watching. If you guys haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. Hopefully you can hit 200 likes by the end of Q1. We've got 6 minutes left for that. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please be sure to do that as well. All right, we've got Daniel Ricciardo on a flying lap. He's got a lot of traffic ahead of him. Hopefully everyone gets out of the way very nicely. He'll be getting a little bit of a tow from Carlos Sainz as well as he goes up into turn number 9. Verstappen is ahead of him, hopefully does not get in the way. No, he does not, and Danny Rick will be getting a nice tow as well. So he got 2 green sectors, and then now he crosses the line into 11th position. Very nice there. Max Verstappen will now be on his flying lap. We'll wait and see what he can do on those new set of soft tyres. All right, let's see what else is going on track. Oh, also, let's have a look at the top speed information. Let's see who's got the highest top speed. So we have got the Mercedes at 316 kilometers an hour. We've got the Red Bulls at 318 kilometers an hour. The Alpines at 316, the Ferraris at 314, and it looks like Carlos Sainz got a little bit of a tow. So yeah, the Haas is at 318 as well. So all of the teams very much similar in terms of top speeds, all within the 310 to 320 kilometers per hour range. So we'll see what the slipstream can do for some drivers. Max Verstappen crosses the line now with 2.5 tenths ahead of Lewis Hamilton, and Carlos Sainz goes 2 tenths quicker than Max Verstappen. So what a lap there from Carlos Sainz, and I certainly think he's got some of that confidence back in him, and he'll be challenging Leclerc. Leclerc now puts in another lap time, 2.5 tenths ahead of Carlos Sainz this time. So the drivers at the top 3 split by 1/4 of a second each. And yeah, I mean, the lap times are tumbling. We've got 4 minutes left of the session, and I suspect we'll be dipping into the 1 minute 4s by the end of Q2 or Q3 at this rate. But yes, Haas at 319 kilometers an hour. Loads of drivers actually reaching 319. So the slower cars, as far as I can tell, the Ferrari is right in the middle of the pack in terms of top speed. We've got the Alfa Romeos that are slightly on the slow side, and the same can be said for the Alfa Tauris and McLarens, and the Aston Martins as well, rather slow. Well, when I say rather slow, 300 kilometers an hour, but still slow compared to the rest of the drivers. And we will wait and see which team goes for the slipstream, because it looks like Verstappen got a tiny bit of a slipstream going down into the second sector to get that top speed that he got. But yeah, we'll wait and see which teams decide to go for the slipstream strategy, or which teams decide to go for the clean air. yeah, a 103 lap time would be absolutely crazy. I mean, the only sub-zero lap time that I remember, well, that's happened in our lifetimes, I'm suspecting, is that is the Sakir outer circuit that we had in 2020, I think. Yeah, that was sub 1 minute, sorry. And I think Jochen Rindt in another circuit at Austria, I think it must have been a modified version of the Red Bull Ring or something like that. One of those laps, or Niki Lauda, I think, he had a sub 1 minute lap time in one of these races. I'm not particularly sure, but I think it was in Austria. Of the drivers taking the final run in Q1, well, there's 2 minutes 30 seconds left of the session. So if they do want to get out for a Q run now, if they want to do a final run, now will be the time to get out of the garage. And we've got Ocon, Albon, Zhou, Magnussen, Bottas, Tsunoda, Gasly all coming out of the pit lane with 2 minutes left now of the session. It's a minute lap time, so the drivers will be loitering around at 1 minute 30 for an out lap, and then they will be going for the green flag right at the end of the session, trying to hit it just before the checkered flag falls. We got Latifi, Mick Schumacher, Lance Stroll, Danny Rick, Fernando Alonso, George Russell. So most drivers actually coming out of the pits. We've got, but I suspect Leclerc, Sainz, Verstappen, and Hamilton will all be sat in the pit lane rather comfortably because they are probably a second quicker than the drivers that are going to be eliminated. All right. I'll get some team radio up as well, but I don't suspect there's going to be that much important stuff on there. Yeah. All right. So this is it, 1 minute 15 left of the session. Anyone that wants to complete a lap will have to already be out on track. We've got Ocon leading the pack, and we've got Sergio Perez ending the pack off. There's quite a bit of traffic between Daniel Ricciardo, Lance Stroll, and Fernando Alonso going through the middle sector. We'll wait and see how that plays out. Does everyone get a lap in? There's 52 seconds left, and Sergio Perez is still going through turn number 6 of 10. I don't know if he'll be able to start his lap with a sufficient gap ahead of him, but we've got Esteban Ocon now going through the middle sector, and he has done his first sector very, very nicely indeed. Most drivers actually improving. Track Evolutions looks to be working in their favour, and we've now got 30 seconds left till the checkered flag. Lance Stroll is starting his lap, so is Sebastian Vettel, but I don't know if Sergio Perez is going to get round. He's currently having to wait for Esteban Ocon, so he doesn't hold him up. He's going to be going behind Alex Albon as well. Let's see, 12 seconds left of the session. Sergio Perez getting dangerously close to missing out. 6 seconds left. Does he hit the line? Yes, he does. Just hits the line there for Sergio Perez. All right, so the lap times are coming in. We've got Kevin Magnussen up into 9th, Valtteri Bottas up into 11th position, Yuki Tsunoda into 12th. We've got Pierre Gasly, the Frenchman, in 15th position. Not ideal there. Very close to being knocked out. Nicholas Latifi into 19th. So he's knocked out of Q1. We've got Mick Schumacher crosses the line now in 10th position, puts himself up. It does not improve that, in fact, into 10th position there. Daniel Ricciardo is currently in 16th, stays in 16th position. Fernando Alonso crosses the line into 4th position. The Alpine has definitely got some pace that we are still yet to see. We've got Lance Stroll now. He crosses the line in 17th position. That's his 6th consecutive Q1 knockout there for Lance Stroll. And Sebastian Vettel in 17th as well. Russell and Hamilton cross the line and they stay in their respective positions. We got Lando Norris. He goes back into the pits, and Sergio Perez, he is just driving around a rather leisurely pace because there is no need for him to be pushing now because he's safely through into Q2. So the drivers that have been eliminated are Daniel Ricciardo, Sebastian Vettel, Lance Stroll, Guan Yu Zhou, Nicholas Latifi. So those are the drivers that have been eliminated. Vettel got his lap time deleted again. Not ideal for the German. And yeah, track limits still very, very important indeed. Alrighty, so Daniel Ricciardo just getting knocked out there once again on his streak of bad form, which yeah really hurts me to say because I'd love to see Daniel Ricciardo performing at a similar level to Lando Norris, but yeah, he's really struggling to get to grips with that McLaren car, or yeah, don't know what it is there for Daniel Ricciardo, but hopefully he can get back up at the front. Okay, so Q2 will be beginning in a couple of minutes' time now. And yeah, all right. Let me know what your predictions are. Which drivers do you think are going to be eliminated in Q2? I suspect we're going to get Valtteri Bottas get eliminated and probably Alex Albon as well. But other than that, it's pretty difficult to say because the drivers will inevitably start pushing a significant chunk harder now that it is Q2 and they've got out of Q1. So we will have to wait and see. Yes, very sad indeed for Sebastian Vettel, especially since he's my favourite driver. Seeing him in 20th place is not ideal, but he did start the race in Silverstone in 18th position and then eventually went on to score points. So it will be great to see him do that again, especially since this race, the overtaking here, should be a lot simpler and a lot easier than it was at Silverstone. I am looking forward to this sprint race tomorrow and the full race on Sunday. By the way, guys, I will be streaming it, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you do not miss the so you don't miss the race. So don't miss the commentary, my commentary coverage of the actual session. And yeah, that'll be great to see you guys there. Alrighty. Yeah, no, I see somebody's account lol. I already messaged, and Daniel Ricciardo may be moving. I mean, I don't think they'll be moving to. I don't want him to move to IndyCar, but a move may happen because of the fact that. Yeah, he's really not performing, and if McLaren have hopes of going all the way to the top of the grid, and they're going to need two drivers that are on top of their performances, and yeah, Daniel Ricciardo really not providing that to McLaren for the past 2 years now, so he may have to go, even though he will definitely want to stay. It is very much unfortunate. Do you think Ricciardo will retire? I don't think he'll retire. I don't think he'll retire for racing for sure. But yeah, who knows what he'll go on to do. I mean, if he gets told that by McLaren, if you don't push now and if you don't match Lando Norris's performance in the second half of the season, you won't have a contract for next year. Then I suspect Daniel Ricciardo might pick up the pace a bit. He might have, okay, so this is it. This is my only chance. I've got to make the most of it. Maybe Daniel Ricciardo could go up and increase his pace, but yeah, it's not looking good for him, and it's not ideal whatsoever. How long till Q2 begins? As far as I know, it will be another 2 minutes, another 120 seconds to be exact. Till Q2 begins. Yeah, so not long now till the drivers get back out on track and we get to see some more qualifying action. Now we're down to 15 drivers. Traffic will be much less of an issue, and maybe some teams to try and orchestrate some slipstream maneuvers for some of their drivers, and we could see maybe the Red Bulls boosting themselves along by giving each other a tow. Which would play very nicely into, Max Verstappen's winning streak here at this circuit. He has definitely done very, very well here. We know Charles Leclerc has done very well. In fact, if you remember back to 2019, Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen had an absolutely epic battle. Second to last lap of the race, we had Leclerc and Verstappen switch places for the lead. I suspect we're going to see something like that this weekend round as well. The racing, yeah, it's going to be absolutely epic. Also, just an update on the top speeds. All drivers now pretty much approaching 319 kilometers an hour. We've got Russell, Norris at 316 and 315, and the two Ferraris at 316 and 317. But other than that, everyone is pretty much identical in terms of top speed. So top speed isn't playing a very big factor here. But you've also got to remember it is acceleration as well, because some drivers and some teams can accelerate to their top speed a lot faster than the other teams can. And if you're at your top speed before someone else is at their top speed, you will have a pretty big advantage going down those straights. So here it is. Q2 has begun. Ocon, Tsunoda, Gasly, Norris and Leclerc are out on track, and many more drivers just coming out of their garages right now. Everyone that's tuned in, very, very big thank you to all of you. We're getting very close to 200 likes, so if you could smash that like button, that would be very much appreciated. And if you haven't subscribed already, that would be absolutely wonderful if you did. Vettel has just come over the radio and he said, "Oh man, that was painful." So yeah, the upgrades at Aston Martin not delivering the results that they expected. Both drivers out of Q1, and Lance Stroll out for the sixth successive time in 6 races. So yeah, Aston Martin in a rut there, and hopefully they can find something to break out of it. Yeah, all right. Let's look at the true pace of these Alpines as well. Now that the drivers are out on track, no traffic. They're all on the soft tyres and they will be pushing to the absolute limits. We'll wait and see what these Alpines can do. The track evolution will have died down a bit. I suspect the slope of track improvement has very much flattened out, and we will be reaching a stable state on this track very, very soon. And we'll wait and see what the Alpines are actually like in terms of their pace. Yeah. All right, Kies, that is totally cool. You might as well go, since Daniel Ricciardo is out of Q1 and you are Australian yourself. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, and I'll probably see you for the sprint race. Right, track evolution. Okay, so basically we've got so F1 tires, they're made out of rubber, of course. And the reason the drivers have to do pit stops during races is because that rubber on those tires wears out very, very quickly. And when the rubber wears out, it comes off the tire, and then obviously after it comes off the tire, it has to go somewhere onto the track. Now I'll link this to track evolution. So once the rubber comes off the track, it just gets deposited on the. Oh no, once the rubber comes off the tire, it just gets deposited on the track. And there's bits of rubber just left around on the track. And then once another driver behind them on the racing line drives over that piece of rubber, the rubber gets pushed into the actual track. And you get a bunch of grip when you have rubber on rubber contact. So the rubber from someone else's tire and the rubber from your own tire, once they touch each other on the track, you get a lot more grip than if you just had the tire and the track. So that's what track evolution is. Tires wearing out and then pieces of rubber getting deposited into the track. And then once all of that's been deposited, you get loads of rubber touching loads of rubber. And that will mean you get a lot more grip than usual. So the more laps that are done around a certain racetrack, the more track evolution we get, because there's loads of rubber deposited on that part of the racing line. So that's basically track evolution for you. So yeah, marbles form on the outside of the racing line that slows down the outside of the racing line, but on the racing line, the marbles get squeezed into the track, and that creates all of the grip on the circuit. So that's track evolution. And because we only had one practice session, there weren't that many laps driven around the circuit. So that's why in the qualifying sessions, we had loads of track evolution. So we've just had our first runs of Q2 now. Lewis Hamilton out on top, 30 milliseconds ahead of Max Verstappen. Very nice job there from Lewis Hamilton. I don't know how exactly he's done that. Did he get a slipstream? Not sure. But yeah, nevertheless, Hamilton 30 milliseconds ahead of Verstappen. Did not expect to be saying that, to be honest. I expected Verstappen to dominate, but we've still got 10 minutes left of Q2. and we will have to wait and see what happened to Alonso. I don't know why he hasn't come out of the garage yet. And the same can be said for Magnussen, Schumacher, Bottas, and Albon. Oh, Albon's just out on track now, but I don't know why the other drivers aren't out on track just yet. So we'll wait and see what happens there. All right. Also, guys, remember to stay hydrated. I'm just gonna get some water. But yes, very much stay hydrated, and we have got a very exciting Q2 session coming up for us. All right. All right. Yeah, and sanitize your hands as well. Stay hydrated, sanitize your hands. And let's go qualifying. Yeah, I was meant to say let's go racing, but we're currently in a qualifying session, so it doesn't exactly work. All right. Actually, you might as well, let's have a look at these sector times. So we've got Hamilton going slightly quicker in the third sector compared to Max Verstappen. In fact, this is quite a consistent theme here. Going through, even in the practice sessions, the Ferraris were significantly quicker in the third sector compared to the Red Bulls. And it seems to be Max Verstappen either lacking confidence or lacking the pace to go through that third sector, or lacking the downforce, sorry, to go through that third sector at the speeds that the Mercedes and the Ferraris are doing. Yeah, it's rather perplexing, really, because we know the Red Bull, they obviously have a fast top speed car, and the ground effect should be working at the high speeds, which we do have at turn number 9 and 10. So we'll have to wait and see, is Verstappen just playing it safe, not trying to have a premature crash in the qualifying session? We'll have to wait and see if he does ramp up those sector times in Q3 and hopefully gets slightly closer to the Mercedes and Ferraris, because the gap between the teams now is sitting around about half a second. I'd love to see that gap dip down maybe into 0.2 of a second, 0.1 of a second. That would be absolutely wonderful to see. Sergio Perez, though, is very much struggling, down in 9th position. Yeah, who knows what's happening with Sergio Perez? He is half a second. Well, in fact, he's nearly he's 0.9 of a second behind Max Verstappen. He just crosses the line now, and he goes 0.7 behind Max Verstappen. So, yeah, Sergio Perez's pace this weekend not been great. And the thing is, there's only 6 corners here. So if you're 0.7 behind a teammate, you're losing pretty much 1/10 a corner, just over 1/10 a corner. So Sergio Perez has got some serious analysis on that telemetry to do before he goes out on that final run of Q3. Otherwise, he is going to be all the way down at the back for the grid for the sprint race. Also, actually, another thing to consider is that F1 cars, they have an ideal qualifying setup and they have an ideal race setup. So usually the ideal qualifying setup is that you go on to, you reduce the downforce a tiny little bit, so you slide around a bit, your tires overheat maybe, but the thing is you're only doing 1 lap in qualifying, so the fact that your tires overheat don't really matter. And then you have a race setup, which is a tiny bit more downforce, your slightly softer suspension, so the cars are slightly bit nicer to drive. And that will mean your race trim will be a lot faster. So because it is parc ferme from now, like you cannot change your setup except like your front wing flaps, I think, for the rest of the weekend. So we may see some of the teams like Mercedes, maybe they've gone for a qualifying setup and they've gone for, okay, we're just going to qualify high up in the field and then we'll deal with the race once we get to it. But some of the teams might have been, okay, so we've got a sprint race and we've got an actual race. So that means nearly 90 laps of actual racing. And we've got 3 laps of qualifying or 6 laps of qualifying laps to do. So maybe it's better off to go on a race setup. So when we've got 90 laps of racing around Austria in total, we might as well just get a bunch of overtakes done during the race rather than qualifying very high up. So maybe that's what we're seeing here, the difference between the Mercedes. Maybe the Mercedes have gone for the qualifying setup and then they'll struggle with overheating. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see for tomorrow. And yeah. All right, 5 minutes remaining of this session. We've got Leclerc and Sainz out on track. Let's see what they can do. And can they get any closer to the Red Bulls and Lewis Hamilton? Russell as well, at the start of the season, he was beating Lewis Hamilton, but Hamilton has come fighting back. And he said that this weekend that he does want to get back on top and try and beat Lewis Hamilton in qualifying. So he's currently 3/10 behind his teammate. We'll wait and see what he can do from there. Leclerc now rounding through turn number 9 and 10 on his way to start a flying lap. So let's go through a lap with Charles Leclerc. He comes out the final corner very nicely, stays within track limits, activates that DRS and crosses the start and finish line. Up into 7th and 8th gear, braking for turn number 1. It's just a very 90-degree right-hander, hits that apex, does not go wide onto the yellow sausage curb. And there he goes into turn number 2, completely flat. Turn number 3, uphill braking for a hairpin, hits that apex very nicely as well. Great exit there for Charles Leclerc. Going down the straight now. Activates the DRS, goes through the speed trap at 318 kilometers an hour, and then at turn number 4 hits the brakes downhill, doesn't lock up. So very nicely executed there from Charles Leclerc. Into turn number 6 he goes, dab on the brakes, gets very close to the gravel on the exit, but gets through safely. Turn number 7 and 8 gets through there as well. Once again, all over the curbs, and then through into turn number 9, has complete confidence in the car, just flicks it in, and does the same for turn number 10, stays within track limits as far as I can tell, and then goes 2/10 quicker than Lewis Hamilton. Great lap there from Charles Leclerc, and a purple third sector with a lot of confidence indeed. Carlos Sainz now, he crosses the line into 4th position. He's 3/10 behind his teammate. So Leclerc 3/10 ahead of Sainz. We've got Hamilton 3/10 ahead of Russell. So yeah, pretty clear to see your number 1 and 2 drivers, at least for now. And Charles Leclerc doing an absolutely sensational job. And I dare to say, if Ferrari had a better strategy team, he would be very close to Max Verstappen's championship points, if not ahead of him. So yeah, Ferrari very much need to pick up their game in terms of the strategy, so they don't screw over Charles Leclerc. And there we go. We've dipped into, well, we're already in the 1-minute 5s, but we are getting dangerously close to the 1-minute 4s as well. Look at this, 1-minute 5.3 from Charles Leclerc. So only 3/10 now. So a little bit of a slipstream, and a little bit more confidence going through the first sector. And I suspect Charles Leclerc could probably dip into the 1-minute 04s. All right. Perez does not have a problem. He just has no pace. So I wouldn't consider that a problem as in terms of his car, but he is really not doing that well in terms of pace, just significantly behind his teammate. But this is it now, the last runs of Q2, all of the drivers out on the track, and we have, let's just have a look at this. George Russell, by the looks of it, will not be setting another lap time. He's in 5th position, doesn't really matter. Hamilton, though, look at that first sector from Lewis Hamilton. He goes 2/10 quicker than Charles Leclerc in the first sector alone. Wow. And then now going through into turn number 4, downhill braking zone. Does that very nicely as well. Hamilton executing those downhill brakings very, very well. George Russell gets out of the way of his teammate. And then Hamilton going through turn number 6. Let's see what his middle sector times will be. But he could be very much challenging for the front row, if not for pole position, looking at this pace. So through the middle sector he goes. And actually not a personal best middle sector there from Lewis Hamilton. So don't know where all that pace has gone. Maybe overheated his tyres through the first sector and then didn't have enough temperature for the rest of the lap. But he crosses the line to stay in 2nd position. All right, So with 20 seconds left of the session now, George Russell starts his flying lap. So does Mick Schumacher. Charles Leclerc will be doing the same. 11 seconds left. But we've got Verstappen now. He's not pushing by the looks of it. Leclerc, another fastest third sector. So yeah, Leclerc in the third sector, very, very confident indeed. But yeah, no one can actually match him in the third sector. So Leclerc doing a great job there. Max Verstappen driving rather slowly. No need for him to push. In fact, he improved slightly, into second position. And he is 87 milliseconds behind Charles Leclerc. So he's getting closer and closer, but still Charles Leclerc's pace in that third sector is completely unmatched. And all of that gap, in fact, Verstappen and Leclerc pretty much identical in the first two sectors. All of it's just coming from that third sector. But the checkered flag has fallen, and the drivers in the elimination zone are Pierre Gasly, Alex Albon, Valtteri Bottas, Yuki Tsunoda, and Lando Norris. So yeah, those drivers have been eliminated from qualifying 2. Yeah. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Q3 will be beginning in 3 minutes time. Q3, 3 minutes for Q3. There we go. But yeah, right, let's have a look at these sector times. So Verstappen and Leclerc pretty much identical. Verstappen actually picked up the pace slightly in that third sector. Oh no, he didn't. That's just the rounding. Yeah, so in the first sector, Verstappen was slightly quicker. And then in the middle sector, Leclerc and Verstappen pretty much identical. And then in the third sector, Leclerc got the pace back and the advantage back, and he went to get that first position. Looking at the other drivers, both Mercedes drivers, in fact, struggling in the middle sector. We've got the Ferraris and Verstappen in the 29.0 in the middle sector, and we've got Hamilton in the 29.2. But in fact, that's enough talk of the drivers at the top of the field. We've got Haas, 7th and 10th position. Very nice, once again, into Q3. Hopefully they can convert this into points, because if you guys remember, in qualifying in Canada, they got 5th and 6th position, I think, or they definitely both got through into Q3. And then they went on to score 0 points. But then in Silverstone, they qualified, I think it was 18th and 19th or something right at the bottom of the field. And they went on to score double points. So hopefully Haas can convert this into double points finishes starting in Q3. We've got the 2 Alpines as well. In fact, it's all of the... We've only got 5 teams in the top 10. We've got the Ferraris, the Red Bulls, the Mercedes, the Haas, and the Alpine. So, yeah, we could get potentially a... I don't know what it would be called, but like a full Ferrari front row and a full Red Bull front row. But it is looking pretty good. So, yeah. All right. We've got some team radio from Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly was eliminated by, what was this? 9 milliseconds. That's how close the gap was between Mick Schumacher and Pierre Gasly. Let's listen to Pierre Gasly's team radio.
Yeah, P11. P11.
Yeah, nothing really, just quite a lot of disappointment there from Pierre Gasly. Yeah, so Lando Norris said he's scared to hit the brakes, and Lando Norris definitely didn't set a representative lap time. I think there must be some sort of issue with his car. But it has been an absolutely tragic day for the McLaren duo. We've got Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo in 15th and 16th position, respectively. Yeah, pretty much a day to forget. Both of them had issues in FP1, and then both of them struggling in qualifying as well. All right. everyone that has hit the like button, very much appreciated. If we could hit 300 likes, that would be wonderful. We've got nearly 2,000 people watching, so everyone that has tuned in very much is appreciated. And then let's get back to Q3. In fact, let's just change this. Q3, there we go. Yeah, Q3 will be beginning in a couple of minutes' time now. Yeah, looking forward to this. All right. So let me know what your predictions are in the chat. I'm going to make a poll. It'll be Leclerc, Verstappen, Hamilton, and Sainz for pole position. And then you guys can vote in it. Who is getting pole position? Is it going to be Charles Leclerc or Max Verstappen? Sound like a game show host right now. Lewis Hamilton, and we have got Carlos Sainz. There we go. Let me know in that poll who you think is going to get pole position. But who's going to get pole in that pole position? Wait, no, who's going to get pole position in that poll? Yeah, pretty absolutely funny. I know, right? But yeah, Max or Leclerc on pole, Hamilton or Leclerc. Both Hasses into Q3. Yeah, absolutely wonderful there. Alex Albon, in fact, in 12th place as well. So it looks like those Williams upgrades are working. Alex Albon ending up going around about 0.8 of a second faster than Nicholas Latifi. That might be short down to the fact that Alex Albon is significantly faster than Nicholas Latifi, or it might be down to the fact that the upgrades are working for the Williams team. So yeah, there we go. All right, let's see. Qualifying will now be starting in. Oh, okay. No, never mind. Q3 starting in 2 minutes time. Oh no, in fact, just 1 minute. It's just dipped down now. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. And Twix97, first time in my channel. Well, welcome to the channel. Yeah, just do commentary for Formula One, qualifying and races, of course. So, yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. We have Q3 beginning in a couple of seconds now, and here we go. All right, so we have got. I have a feeling that we're going to get Max Verstappen, who is going to be in. Max Verstappen's probably going to get provisional pole at least, but then I have a sneaky feeling that Charles Leclerc is going to end up getting this pole position, mainly because of the fact that Ferrari have got 7 poles this year, and Red Bull have only got 3. So yeah, it looks to be Ferrari that are better in race conditions, or better in qualifying conditions. Sorry, but nevertheless, we will wait and see what is happening. Musical Chicken, thank you for your message. Congrats on 40k. Yeah, we hit that. I think, yeah, we hit that at the end of the last stream. And it is wonderful. 40,000 people have subscribed. That is an absolutely massive number. I mean, if you think about it, like if you were to go into like the biggest hall that you know, and that's probably can fit like 200, 300, 400 people, that's 10 times, well, no, not even 10, that would be 100 times. 100 of those halls filled up with my subscribers. That is an absolutely massive number of people. So everyone that has subscribed, absolutely wonderful. Yeah. All right, my sprint race prediction. I mean, let's first do qualifying, and then I'll let you know my sprint race prediction before the start of the sprint race tomorrow. Actually, Q3 has begun, and nobody is coming out on track. We've got 10 minutes. We got 2 minutes into the session. Sorry. Oh well, 1 minute and 10 seconds into the session. But nobody has come out on track just yet. I think everyone's just playing a bit of a waiting game. Here we go. It looks like Verstappen will be coming out of the pit. Oh no, Ocon's out of the pits. Then there's Russell. So we'll get some drivers now coming out onto the track. All right. So here we go then. 10 minutes left of the session. That should give every driver enough time to do an out lap, a flying lap, and then an in lap twice. So we will have 2 sets of quali runs. And yeah, looking forward to this. So Ocon will be leading the pack like he was at the start of Q1, and we've got Sergio Perez ending the pack off down right at the end of the order on track right now. So Ocon will take you through a lap of Esteban Ocon, and then we will go out on track. All right. Mansour Hassan, thank you for the subscription. Very much is appreciated. Also, all of you guys that have subscribed and your names have popped up, very much is appreciated. If your name doesn't pop up, it's because your account isn't public, but the counter will still tick up by 1, even if your account isn't public. But there we go. Esteban Ocon now going through turn number 2. DRS is activated, and then uphill braking for turn number 3. He does that very nicely. He's getting very close to that curb on the left, in fact. You don't want to be braking on that curb or, in fact, the white line either, because your grip is significantly reduced. Hamilton purple through the first sector once again, slightly quicker than his teammate George Russell. The first sector is pretty much just a corner and then another straight. So Hamilton really nailing turn number 1, and it looks to be Ocon purple middle sector, but I think that's only because he's the first driver doing it. In fact, Ocon goes quicker than George Russell in the middle sector. Alpine really have got some rapid pace in that middle sector, and I suspect Fernando Alonso will be following through with that as well. Hamilton doesn't improve in the middle sector. Looks like he made a slight bit of a mistake there. Ocon crosses the line 1 minute 5.77. We've got George Russell crosses the line now 1 minute 5.4. It looks like Leclerc could potentially be dipping into the 1 minute 4s. We've got Hamilton who backed off because of a mistake. Does he go into the pits? No, he does not. Charles Leclerc crosses the line 1 minute 5.1. All right, so that is provisional pole for now. We've got Fernando Alonso who crosses the line. Oh no, he goes back into the pits. Fernando Alonso into the pits. Oh, so does Lewis Hamilton. Magnussen crosses the line into 4th position. Mick Schumacher into 5th. And here comes Carlos Sainz now. He goes 1/10 behind his teammate. Carlos Sainz is back in business. He's going to be challenging Charles Leclerc. And here comes Max Verstappen, crosses the line 91 milliseconds ahead of Charles Leclerc. The gaps are so small. And Verstappen only has a purple in the first sector, and the rest of his sectors were just marginally better than Charles Leclerc's. Otherwise, in fact, he's actually slower than Leclerc in both the second and third sectors. His first sector was just absolutely electric, and that's the only reason he's actually on that provisional pole position. What a first sector from Max Verstappen. Yeah, 2/10 quicker in the first sector compared to Charles Leclerc. And then that he had just held that advantage for the remainder of the lap. That turn 1 that Max Verstappen did must have been executed absolutely perfectly there from Max Verstappen. Let's just have a little look at the back of the field. Also, you got to be careful. There are track limits here. You can get your lap time deleted at turn number 1, turn number 9, and turn number 10 if you go past the white line on the curb. If you go past the white line on the track, sorry. So you got to keep at least one wheel on the track at all times, otherwise your lap time will be deleted. We got Russell and Hamilton both going for another flying lap. Fernando Alonso as well doing this. Oh no, Fernando Alonso is not on a lap. He's in the pits. But yeah, the 2 drivers out on track now are George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. Russell, purple first sector. Lewis Hamilton, he does not improve in his first sector, but his first sector anyway was pretty fast. All right, George Russell, a nice middle sector there from him. All right, we're following through into turn number 9. He's all the way on the edge of the left side of the curve. He flicks the car in. Very nice job there from George Russell. And then through now into the final corner and down the straight he goes. And he crosses the line into 5th position. We've got a yellow flag. Hamilton is in the gravel. Hamilton in the gravel. All right, let's That's gonna run down this time. We've got a red flag this session. So Hamilton has brought out the red flag. Whoops, that's a bit big, isn't it? There we go. Hamilton has not crashed. He's just gone into the gravel. So yeah, not ideal there. And we will have a red flag till they can pick his car out of the gravel. Oh no, he's into the barriers as well. In fact, he just went all over the gravel. Had no braking, of course, because the gravel provides you zero grip. Had a snap of oversteer. And there he is into the barriers for Lewis Hamilton. Not great whatsoever. And his car is destroyed by the looks of it. His rear suspension might be broken by the look. Yeah, his rear suspension, right rear suspension, looks to be pretty damaged. So we'll wait and see what happens there. Yeah, his front right suspension is completely broken, and rear right suspension is damaged as well. The barriers look to be fine though, so there won't be any delays. All they need to do is actually just pick up his car and wheel it back to the garage. I'll in fact try and get some Hamilton team radio for you guys, but we've still got 5 minutes remaining of this session, and let's see what will happen there. So the rest of the drivers will be sat in the garage, and they'll be looking at all of the telemetry data, of course, of who is. Where they can improve. Sergio Perez will be doing that, as will definitely be trying to do that, trying to match Max Verstappen. Verstappen very much does go very well around this circuit, but yeah, not great that he has. Let's just ban this guy. Yeah, not great. Performance there from Sergio Perez, because he was matching Max Verstappen for the past couple of races in terms of qualifying pace and race pace, but yeah, he definitely needs to keep that up, because the Red Bull seat is very, very volatile, and you never know what will happen. I don't think he's got a contract extension just yet for 2023. We'll have to wait and see. Hamilton has crashed, and that's why the red flag is out. No team radio as yet from Lewis Hamilton, but it'll only be a matter of time before that comes through. Meanwhile, guys, there are links to F1 merch in the description, so if you guys do want to go ahead and get F1 merch, or thinking about getting the new merch for this year, then go ahead and use the link in the description, because I will get like a 10% cut of it, so that would be very much appreciated. It does help out the channel quite a lot, so yeah. If you're looking for F1 merch, then just use my link in the description. And there is, I might as well just advertise it. There's my Discord as well in the description if you are interested in that, and Instagram and Twitter as well. All right. Let's see what else is going on the circuit. Let's have a quick look at the top speeds once again. Are any drivers getting a bit of a slipstream? Looks like Sergio Perez is, he got 320 kilometers an hour, just a tiny bit of a toe, I suspect, from someone else in front of him. Perez did get an extension, all right. Cool, good to know. I guess I'm just not remembering up F1 news then. Hamilton will be starting in 8th position, unless Fernando Alonso or Mick Schumacher can out-qualify his lap. Yeah, Hamilton did a 1 minute 13. So yeah, once Alonso and Schumacher put in a lap, Hamilton will start 10th. Yeah, he had a snap of overstay going through turn number 7. Just went straight over the gravel and into the barrier. And yeah, that is the car damaged. Also, guys, might as well let you know of the FIA's new directives of what they're going to be doing about, like, they have like a meeting every single weekend or so. Or not every weekend, but every couple of weekends on like the future of Formula One. And because of inflation, they are increasing the budget cap by 3.1%. So yeah, budget cap slightly increased. Red Bull and Mercedes and Ferrari will definitely be happy about that, especially because of the fact that with crashes happening, like maybe fixing Hamilton's car here is going to be 700k in parts. So yeah, that extra little breathing room that they've just got for the budget cap is going to be very, very helpful indeed for the top teams. And then the other thing is that the FIA rules directive about porpoising. So what they're going to be trying to fix porpoising, and they're going to add in a rule so like the drivers don't get too much damage to their spine. That's going to be coming in at Belgium. So they'll tell us of the rule change that's going to happen at Belgium. And then the other thing is that they're still deciding what the exact F1 regulations are going to be for 2026 of the engines, because Audi and Porsche are looking to join F1, and that'll be a great addition to Formula One, of course. Having 24 cars on the grid, absolutely wonderful. So yeah, it will just be important to see. What was I going to say? Yeah, important to see what these regulations are like, and will Audi or will Porsche join the Formula One grid? All right. So yes, Hamilton has crashed. Bono is not at the circuit. In fact, he is. Bono's not at the circuit. He's back at the factory, and he's got his I think his performance engineer and his one of his other engineers on the radio instead of Bono. But yeah, Bono is back at the factory doing the exact same stuff that he would be doing, but of course he's not connected through to the radio since he is at the factory rather than at the pit wall. Yep, still 5 minutes 30 remaining of the pit lane timer. Of the qualifying timer, but they have successfully retrieved Hamilton's car. His front right suspension is completely broken. His rear right suspension looks to be damaged, and his front wing is also completely broken off. But I suspect some of the parts will be salvageable. So going through turn number 6, Hamilton had a pretty standard turn number 6, ran slightly wider than usual, got stuck slightly on the curb, and then turned the car too much, got a bit of oversteer, and then went skated all over the gravel because, the gravel's kind of just there to slow you down, not to completely stop you, and skated over the gravel, slowed down, and then went into the barriers and damaged his front right and rear right suspension. But his car has been retrieved, and he will be, and it'll be a matter of minutes now before we go back racing. All right. Oh, what? Also, by the way, the driver that actually finishes first today will be getting pole position, because that the FIA changed the rules, so officially the pole position will be awarded in to the driver that finishes first in qualifying. Also, the session will be restarting in 2 minutes' time. So yeah, just 2 minutes till the session restarts. We've got word from race control, and then here we will be going. Also, one more thing. Before Hamilton crashed, Charles Leclerc think that Hamilton's blocked him. So we could potentially see Hamilton get a penalty from the FIA, depending on like what the situation is and what the stewards think of that. Is Hamilton going to get a grid penalty because of blocking Charles Leclerc? We will have to wait and see. All right, so the sprint race is, just so some of you guys might not know, but the sprint race is, they've changed the rules, so we're going to get 8 points for the driver that finishes first position, 7 points for the driver in second, 6 points for the driver in third, and then so on and so forth, up to the driver in 8th position who gets 1 point. But yeah, so there's more points that are being awarded for the sprint race this weekend round, actually this season round, in fact. A lot more than there were last year, and yeah, hopefully that makes the race slightly more exciting. And yeah, I suspect this weekend is going to be great anyway. But yeah, we will have to wait and see how that goes. And yeah. So let's go now. Qualifying is beginning in a couple of seconds. Hamilton crashed, so that's why we've got a red flag, guys. Hamilton crashed. They've picked up his car, put it on the other side of the barrier. They'll be taking that back to the garage. And there we go. All right, so 42% of you think Max Verstappen will be on pole position. 34% think Charles Leclerc. 21% Lewis Hamilton. Well, sorry to say, Lewis Hamilton is out of this session. And then we got 3% for Carlos Sainz. I suspect it's going to be very close between Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. Let's end that poll. Also, once the qualifying session does resume, I've got a little trick on my, a little nice feature that we've got on the timing screen. What that will do is it will highlight the parts of the track in blue where Max Verstappen is faster than Charles Leclerc, and it will highlight the parts in red where we've got Charles Leclerc going quicker than Max Verstappen. So I will activate that once they do go on their flying laps. But yeah, there we go. Oh, I need to remove the red flag. Thank you for reminding me. I very much do forget, actually. But there we go. We have got Fernando Alonso out on track. So is George Russell. And let's see who else is coming out. All right, so here we go then. 4 minutes remaining of the session. The drivers usually come out when there's 2 minutes left of the session, so they can get the latest possible time on the track. And yeah, we'll see Fernando Alonso's lap. I'll take you through his lap, in fact. And yeah, we will have to. And then by the time Fernando Alonso finishes lap, everyone else will be coming out onto the track. So here we go. Fernando Alonso out of the final corner, activates that DRS and goes down the start-finish straight now, shifting up into 7th and 8th gear, braking at the 50-meter mark, turning in and hitting that apex very nicely, all over the curb on the exit, but keeps it within track limits. Then going through into turn number 3, gets that hairpin done very nicely indeed, does Fernando Alonso, and then into the final DRS zone of the circuit, going down onto the speed trap as well, approaching 318 kilometers an hour, into downhill braking at turn number 4, does not go wide like some of the other drivers have, and doesn't lock up either, so good job there from Fernando Alonso. Now going through the middle sector where that Alpine really excels, through turn number 6, through turn number 7 where Hamilton had his accident. Fernando Alonso navigates it very, very nicely indeed. Now just the final 2 corners need to stay within track limits because the FIA do have sensors there. And then through turn number 9, full confidence there from Fernando Alonso, and the same for turn number 10. Activates the DRS, crosses the line, and in 7th position, 1 second behind Max Verstappen, and 0.4 of a second behind Esteban Ocon. I mean, Fernando Alonso definitely did have a great lap there because he was behind his teammate by 0.4 of a second, and we know Esteban Ocon. Oh, what have we got a red flag for now? It looks to be like someone has crashed. Why have we got a red flag? Why has the timer just stopped? Oh yeah, I shall update that. In fact, let's just see. Hamilton has crashed. There we go. I think the time is just glitched, to be honest, guys. I think the session's going on as usual. I will keep you updated though. I don't think it's George Russell, because I think George Russell came into the pits. Oh no, George Russell, he's crashed into the wall. Yeah, never mind. Both Mercedes cars having a bit of a crash there. So yeah, that budget cap increase that Mercedes did get, that's all going to repairing the cars because yeah, both of them have crashed now. Going through this time, George Russell through turn number 10. George Russell once again totally fine. He's climbing out of the car now. But yeah, not ideal in any stretch of the imagination there for George Russell. At least he set a representative lap time, so he may be like 5th or 6th in tomorrow's qualifying. But he once again just lost the rear. Mercedes look to be struggling with the oversteer, from that car. He just lost it on turning, really. He just turned in maybe a bit too sharply, or the rear wasn't exactly planted. But the damage on George Russell's car doesn't seem to be that significant. His rear wing took most of the damage for him, and it should be all right. But yeah, all the drivers back into the garage now. 2 minutes 30 left of the session, so that means everyone will be queuing up to get out, so they don't get held up and miss the checkered flag. Yeah, so let's have a look at this replay. Yeah, it looked to be, George Russell was on the curb when he turned in, and it looked like, because the Mercedes gets porpoising, once you're so the porpoising obviously goes up and down, up and down. If you're at the low part of the porpoising, so at this bottom section when you turn in, that's when you have the most grip. And obviously if you're at the top section, you have the least grip. So I think what happened there was George Russell had the least grip when turning in. Like, he was at the top part of his porpoising. The wind was also blowing in that direction, completely screwing up, giving it a pretty big crosswind on the car, causing him to, lose a lot of grip, and then going through into turn number 3, bouncing a bit over the curbs as well, which lost him another bit of performance and downforce. And both Mercedes drivers now out due to crashes of their own mistakes. But yeah, both of the drivers were trying to push the absolute limits, and that's sometimes what happens when you go all the way to the limit, and sometimes a tiny bit beyond as well. So unfortunate there for Mercedes. They're going to be, their mechanics, I suspect, will be working overnight to get those cars repaired in time for the practice sessions tomorrow, and probably be breaking the curfew as well. I might as well update Hamilton and Russell crashed on the session summary. There we go. Hamilton and Russell have crashed. Ooh. All right. So there we go. This is going to be a Monza 2019 moment. Well, I think the teams have learned from Monza 2019 and will probably be trying to get out a bit earlier. But yeah, 2 minutes 30 seconds definitely is enough time. We'll just have to wait and see if the teams decide to be, decide to play it with using actual logic, or if they try and just do something ridiculous. But yeah. Right, I will let you know when George Russell's car has been taken out of... When George Russell's car has been retrieved. Oh yeah, there they are. They're lifting it on the tractor right now. But let's see. What is... Yeah, so they're lifting it out on the tractor, so it'll be only a couple of minutes, or probably 1 or 2 minutes max, till we actually get going. All right then. So let's see. We've got qualifying now. The final runs of Q3. The drivers will have a lot of time to look over the telemetry data to know where they've got to push, where they've got to back off, and how they can maximize their time in Q3. Minimize their time, or minimize their lap time in Q3. So let's wait and see now. All right. Also, if you guys haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. We are 2 likes away from 400 likes, and hopefully if we hit 500 by the end of the session, that would be wonderful indeed. All right, we've got some team radio from George Russell. Let's just listen to this.
So gap ahead 12, only 2 cars on track, alongside yourself.
Yeah, I think that team radio message was slightly delayed, to be honest. I think that was before he crashed. But yeah, there we go. Does the clock stop when there is a red flag? Yes, it does. Oh, why have I got the green flag up? I'm not very good at changing this. We've got a red flag, but we will have a green flag in, I think it's probably, 3 minutes? Oh no, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. 3 minutes, sorry. Well, I can't even read. So there we go. It's a red flag because George Russell crashed into the barriers. So there is that. All right. Back-to-back Mick points. Well, Mick Schumacher is in 10th. He'll definitely get 9th position because Lewis Hamilton's lap time is 1 minute 13 and everyone else is in the 1 minute 5s and 6s. But yeah, Mick Schumacher, it'll be great to see double points. And I think the Haas team definitely can do it. Austria, in fact, was one of their best races last year as well. Kevin Magnussen had a great qualifying last year here in Austria. So yeah, I wouldn't put it past Haas to get double points. 2 races on the back-to-back. That would be absolutely wonderful. All right, 2 minutes now till the green flag, and then we will have the final runs of Q3. Yeah. Would it make sense for a two-lap quali run? Well, you could do a 2-lap quali run, but you're not going to get optimal performance because on the first lap you'll have fresh tires, but then you'll have extra fuel in the car. And then on your second lap, you'll have worn out tires which are overheated and low fuel in the car. So it's not going to be, it won't be great to do a 2-lap quali run. You're probably much better off doing just doing one single run and just going maximum attack on that. And yeah. All right, here it is now. 1 minute till the session is live. Till the session goes green. But yeah, Haas made it into Q3 twice. Well, yeah, they made it through into Canada and they made it through into. Oh, K-Mag wasn't racing in F1 last year. Yeah, no, that's a good point. When was it? Haas definitely had a good qualifying in Austria. I remember that. That's all I remember because I remember Kevin Magnussen's radio message. He was like, how's that after his lap, and then he was, I think he was P5 or P4. Oh, it must have been P5. But yeah, a great quali there from Kevin Magnussen. So yeah, we will wait and see what happens with him this weekend. He's currently in 8th position and he's 3 tenths behind Fernando Alonso. But realistically, I only think the highest position he could get is probably 7th, maybe 6th. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a stretch to catch up to Esteban Ocon and Fernando Alonso because their car is significantly faster than that Haas car. All right. So this is it now. Green flag any time, any second now. So let's see. There we go, green flag. I shall change it this time, in fact, rather than how I missed it last time. And there we go. Kevin Magnussen, Mick Schumacher already out on track. They're going to be leading the pack off. Esteban Ocon in 3rd in the queue. And then we have Charles Leclerc coming out the pit lane. So, and then behind them, we have the rest of the grid. All of them queuing up, trying to get out as soon as possible so they don't miss their final lap. Track temperature at 33 degrees. Wind has slightly reduced its intensity, so hopefully it won't be screwing over anyone's laps or causing any crashes. I'm just going to activate the little feature that makes... so what's going to happen here is I'm going to select this and this. Anywhere on the track where Verstappen is... anywhere on the track where the track is blue, Verstappen's going to be faster, and anywhere on the track where the track is red, Leclerc's faster. And this is going to be as soon as the next lap starts. So ignore the fact that it's all blue right now. It's going to be when the next lap starts, we're going to be comparing Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen, because I suspect it's going to be one of these two drivers that do get pole position. So we're going to be comparing their lap times, and hopefully hopefully it's quite interesting for you guys to watch to see which parts of the track Leclerc's faster, which parts of the track is Verstappen faster. But this is it, 1 minute and 5 seconds left of the session. We've got K-Mag starting his flying lap, Mick Schumacher, Ocon, all going through. Charles Leclerc has left a very big gap indeed in front of him, so he won't be getting any slipstream, but also will not be getting any dirty air. Leclerc starts his flying lap, and we have Fernando Alonso behind him. Then we have Carlos Sainz, and then we have Max Verstappen. So here we go. Charles Leclerc slower than Max Verstappen going through the first part of the track. And yeah, let's wait and see how he fares through the rest of the track. Going through actually, oh, there we go. Through the first part of the track, Charles Leclerc significantly faster than Max Verstappen. Verstappen, though, putting his in his lap times. We'll wait and see what he can do. We got K-Mag now rounding through into sector number 3. Let's wait and see what happens now. So Verstappen quicker through the first sector. He's just gone faster than Leclerc. We'll wait and see what happens now. So K-Mag now coming across the line into 7th position. Very nice job there. Faster than Fernando Alonso. Mick Schumacher 2/10 behind Kevin Magnussen. So nice job there. Now we've got Esteban Ocon crossing line. He's up into 6th position. So that's probably the highest he's going to get there. Now we've got Charles Leclerc, a green first sector, and a purple third sector. He crosses the line, goes 79 milliseconds ahead of Max Verstappen. Verstappen was quicker in the first part of the track. Leclerc was faster in the second. Here we go. Verstappen now coming out the final 2 corners. Sainz beats Leclerc, Verstappen's lap times by 0.5. Verstappen crosses the line. He goes 29 milliseconds ahead of Charles Leclerc. What a lap from Max Verstappen. And then we've got Sergio Perez in 4th position. 0.4 behind his teammate. So Max Verstappen is on pole by 29 milliseconds. Absolutely sensational lap. And look at that, he's dipped into the 1 minute 04s as well. A 1 minute 4.984 from Max Verstappen. Absolutely astonishing performance there. And he was only faster than Leclerc in the first part of the lap. Look at that. On the track, he's only faster in the first sector, and the rest of the corners Leclerc's faster, but that first sector was so fast from Max Verstappen, he still went on to get that pole position. So great qualifying session there from the 2 drivers, and that is qualifying over, and insanely close. I mean, 29 milliseconds between those 2 drivers, and then 50 milliseconds between Leclerc and Sainz. The gaps are getting closer and closer. And as the season goes on, I think Red Bull and Ferrari are going to converge in terms of their pace. No driver's going to run off, no team's going to run off with a bunch of upgrades. They're just going to get closer and closer. And as the season nears towards the end, the battles between these 2 drivers are going to be absolutely wonderful. But that has been qualifying today for you guys. And we have had a great time. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow for the race. We are 60 likes away from hitting 500 likes. So if you guys haven't hit the like button and enjoy the stream, then go ahead and do that. And I will be streaming for the race tomorrow as well. Max Verstappen is on pole position. He's got the official pole position record of this weekend. So if you go on the F1 stats website or whatever, Verstappen holds pole position. They changed the rules from last year. And he will be starting in first position for the sprint race tomorrow, which I will be commentating, by the way. So make sure you tune in for that. But it has been a pleasure commentating to you guys today. And depending on where you are in the world, I hope you have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, or evening, or night. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow for the sprint race. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It's probably 24 laps of racing around Austria. Cannot wait for that race to begin. And I will see you guys there. I'll see you guys there in 24 hours or so. Yeah, it's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. And I will see you later. Cheers, fellas. Oh, also one more thing. When I end this stream, it's going to take you to tomorrow's stream. If you guys could just hit the like button on tomorrow's stream as well, it's basically just going to boost the algorithm a bunch. And it's really going to help out the stream tomorrow as well. So I'm going to end today's stream. I'll take you to tomorrow's stream, and just go ahead and smash the like button, press the reminder, and then go off and enjoy your day.